Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala amma ba'd. Yesterday I told you guys about the Ramadan bunny. And I told you about the Ramadan bunny, and I actually didn't finish the story. I was going to tell you at the end the continuation of the story, but I didn't. So maybe another day Anyways, the end of the story was, yesterday I was talking about intentions. And I said, I told the audience, hey, if you make good intention, how much reward you get, and you get the same reward as if you've done it. So make great intentions. And then if just 10% of those people take action on it, you'll have like 10 huge projects just in that masjid, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would reward them 10 times. And then I told you guys about the Ramadan bunny. So that was the first day of Ramadan in California, and after we finished Tarawih and we went outside to the car in California, this little bunny starts hopping around our car, and I say to myself quietly, the Ramadan bunny. That is not the story for tonight. That's the continuation from yesterday, just so you guys know why I was bringing that up. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we are talking about carrots and eggs. Carrots and eggs. So check this out. When I was a little kid in an Islamic school, there was this visiting dawah troop that came to town. This visiting dawah troop that came to town, and I was like 11 years old, 12 years old, and they sat us down as little kids, and they tried to give us dawah, and they're trying to teach us some like Islamic lessons. And this is what the guy, I remember it very clearly because of how badly this guy messed up his speech. So this is what he said to little children growing up in Canada. He said, when you boil milk? And I said to myself, you know what? I've never boiled milk in my life. We're in Canada here. We don't boil our milk. So he started off by saying, when you boil milk, and you can understand right from the get-go, this guy has no idea who he's talking about. Has no idea who he's speaking to. We don't boil milk in Canada. Somebody else boils it for us. And then he says, when you're boiling milk on the stove, and someone comes along and drops a droplet of urine. And I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, what did you just say? I have never forgot that. The lesson, I never learned the lesson. I was just totally grossed out. Who boils milk? Who drops urine? Where are you going to get the urine to drop it in the first place? Is it in a sample jar? Who comes along with urine in their hand and drops droplets into boiled milk, right? So brain crashed. I do not understand what this guy is talking about. Lecture was over. This guy had no idea who he was speaking to. And I'll tell you later on in life, because I never forgot what he said, I think the lesson that he was trying to say is, do not mix good deeds with bad intentions. I think that's what he was trying to say, that bad intentions can ruin the milk. Something like that. That's what I think he was trying to say. But the lesson was lost on me because he doesn't know. What I want to tell you guys right now is a lot of people that have they have ideas. They're not necessarily wow ideas, but they want to do this, they want to do that. They want to boil milk. And they don't want to drop urine in that milk. People have a lot of ideas, but you have to understand that the same message that you give to one person can have two different effects. So you can tell, for example, you could explain Islam to one person and make a statement, and that person's heart will become softened, like a carrot. It's like hot water, it softens a carrot. But the same hot water, if you put an egg in it, it will harden the egg. So one person will hear a message and their heart becomes softened, and the same message to a different heart will become hardened, even though the message was the same. And so what we're learning in Islam is you have to understand who you're speaking to. I was actually just thinking about this just today. If you take water and splash it in somebody's face, usually they're going to get angry at you, yeah? This is just my own reflection of child rearing. But if you take a little child, a 1-year-old baby, and you splash water in her face or in his face, they will giggle and laugh. They're two different people. One is an adult who gets angry when that happens. and one of them is a little child who, hey, if you splash water, and the Prophet ﷺ used to do that, used to splash water in little kids' faces. They enjoy it. You know what one person likes, what somebody else doesn't like. So, having said that, when people come up with their ideas of things that they want to bring into the souk or bring to their community or bring to their family, a lot of times they're thinking about what they like, what they think is good. But almost always you are not your audience. Your audience is someone different and different people. And so you might harden people or you might soften them. It depends. You have to understand who are you speaking to, who are you dealing with, and come from their angle. What do they value? What is big for them? If you hear some of my old speeches, it actually depends on where the speech took place, and you'll see that my speech might change. It might change because usually when I go to a community, I'll ask people like, what are the big restaurants here? What are you guys into? What are some, things? So if I'm in Malaysia, you'll hear me talking about tea tahrik. If I'm in Houston, I will be talking about, barbecues or slaw or something like that. The language changes based on where you're located and how you deal with something. I can give so many examples of this. I'll tell you just I was once giving a khutbah. This was in Houston. And I like to start my khutbahs off really strong, really exciting with a story, like Ramadan bunny or something like that. So I just jumped into a story about a companion, radiallahu anhu, right from the beginning of the khutbah. And my audience, my English audience in Houston, they love me. And they love the way I do khutbahs, and I'm really talking to them. But then there was this Imam Sheikh who came from overseas, and he sat me aside. I was a little young kid there, and my khutbah was awesome. Pat on the back, all of that great stuff. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, tabarakallah. And he sat me aside and he said, "Brother Muhammad, your speech is very good, your khutbah is very good, but you know what? Ittaqillah, fear Allah, and start your khutbah with mentioning Allah's name. Read Quran, read some hadith, and then you can go to your stories." And that actually messes my khutbah formula. I start with stories, but it messes my formula. But he said this to me, and then this was my response. I said, "Didn't you hear me begin with Inna alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih." And his mind was like, "Yeah, you're right. You actually did start with Quran, and you did." He's like, "Yeah, good one." He didn't even listen to it because he wanted to criticize me. But anyways, the point was, I know my audience. I know what they need to hear. And so for all of you who've got these beautiful ideas that you want to bring to the souk, S-O-U-K, a marketplace, or you want to bring your family, you want to bring your community, especially in these times where people are pivoting, I've got a 5-day challenge that I'm doing called Show Me the Souk. Show Me the Souk, and you can find all about it, information about it at showmethesouk.com. And souk is spelled S-O-U-K. S-O-U-K. And inshallah ta'ala, I'd love to have for you to join us and other people, inshallah ta'ala. All right. Thank you very much. This is a reminder that inna dhikra tanfa'al mu'minin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Think of your audience and what they value rather than what you would like. Assalamu alaikum.